Good day, ladies and gentlemen personalities. Today we are going to be doing financial maths, and in financial maths we are going to be doing simple interest, and simple interest is something that has formulas like this. Maybe you've seen such formulas. So this is what we are going to talk to you about today. And now, what are the learning outcomes? What is it that you must learn at the end of everything in this lesson? Number one, you must know what simple interest is. Number two, you must know the terminology around simple interest. And then thirdly, you must know how to answer questions related to simple interest. So those are three things that at the end of this lesson you must be able to have acclimatized yourself with. Number one, what is simple interest? Terminology around simple interest, you must have mastered it after this lesson. Number three, how to answer questions related to simple interest. Right, now, what is simple interest? Simple interest is coming from two words. It's coming from simple and it's coming from interest. Now, what is the interest? The interest is that extra money, ladies and gentlemen, that you pay when you take money either from the institution or from human beings. Okay, that extra money you pay back, it's called interest. For example, if you take someone's money and then they say the interest is 10%, then you take 200 rand, then you know that the 10% of 200 rand is what? Is 20 rand. So that means that when you pay back the 200 rand, therefore you will pay 220 because you have paid what you have taken from that person. Not only that, but also you have paid the interest as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen personalities, this is Mkonde Smaxaba from Tembela Maths Club, a club that helps learners to do mathematics. And ladies and gentlemen personalities, if you want to become part of these communities, you can go ahead and press the subscribe. There's a subscribe button down here. Press that button so that you become part of this community. And then another thing, that if you want to be notified every time, because we do post videos now and then here, if you want to be notified when we post a new video, you can also click the notification button. So go ahead and subscribe. All right. Okay, let's continue, ladies and gentlemen personalities. Now, there are two kinds of interest, ladies and gentlemen. So I've just explained interest. There are two kinds of interest. There is simple interest and there is compound interest. Okay, but today we are going to be dealing with the version of the interest, which is what? Which is the simple interest. Now, what is simple interest? The simple interest, ladies and gentlemen, is the interest that remains the same. One of the most important things about simple interest is that it remains constant. Remains the same, or constant is the same thing. Okay, remains the same from time to time, from time unit to time unit. What do I mean by this, ladies and gentlemen personalities? For example, in the case that I was speaking about, where you take 200 rand and then the interest is all right, what is happening now? Okay, so for example, when you take this if you take this 200 rand and then the interest is 10 rand, that means if you bring back that money in the first month, then you'll bring back it with 20 rand interest. All right, but if you bring it on the second month, you'll have the 20 rand, which is the interest for the first month, and then you'll also have the 20 rand, which is the interest for the second month. Okay, the interest will not increase simply because you have more. So you'll have 20 rand for the first term, 20 rand for the second term, and then when you combine all of those, then that is the money that you must bring back as an interest. All right. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, personalities, let's deal with this terminology so that we can actually go straight to the examples and have fun there. Right. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, personalities. Now, the first thing that you're going to deal with, the money that you take. Like when you take a loan, for example, the money that you take, you call it what? You call it a principal amount, and then you denote it with what? With P. So we'll have something called P, which we'll refer to as a principal amount. So what is the principal amount? It's simply money taken. Money taken in the context of a loan. Okay, so we'll have P. Okay, now when you take this amount, there will be a certain amount of time units where you will have agreed that you will bring back that money within that time units, and that is called N. So N is equal to the amount of time units. And then you will have something else called I. Now, what is I? So you always refer to I when you are talking about the interest. Okay. So in most cases, when you are talking about interest in a context of the questions in simple interest, it will always come as a form of a percentage. It will mostly come as a form of a percentage. And then if it comes as a form of a percentage, so you will actually take that percentage that you are given, and then what are you going to do? You're going to find I with it. For example, I will always be the percentage that they gave you, percentage, and then you must always divide it by 100. Okay, so in most cases, I will be a decimal number, 0.2, 0.1, and so on and so forth, 0.0, whatever. Okay, it will in most cases be what? It will always be, it will be in most cases be a decimal number. All right, now let's continue. You've got something else also. You've got SI, which is a simple interest. Now here, when you're talking about SI, you are talking about the amount. Okay, interest amount. Okay, there is an amount of interest. There is a formula that you can use to find SI, and then this formula is SI. Let me actually write it with a red color. So it's SI. So every time when you want to find a simple interest, you can use SI is equal to what? You take the capital amount, which is P, and then you times it with what? With the interest, which is I, and then you times it with what? The number of time units that you have agreed to pay back that money, which is N. Okay, can you say PIN? Some people just say SI. Some people just say SI is equal to P. It's still the same thing, because PIN is same as P times I times N. It's like you remember in algebra, you've got A times B, which is same as what? Which is same as AB. Okay, now you've got the last thing, ladies and gentlemen, personalities, which is the final amount, and then we refer to the final amount as A. So A is the final payback. Okay, that means the money that you took with all the interest. Okay, so you denote that with what? With A. Okay, and then there are some formulas that we use there. One of the formulas that we use is A is equal to the principal amount plus the interest, plus the simple interest, because in this case we are talking about simple interest. But other than that, you can also use P. This is the most used one. So we can also use A is equal to what? Is equal to P, and then you say 1 plus IN. Okay, so these are the formulas that you can use. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the terminology. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to understand this terminology, because when I say to you, when I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, personalities, the principal amount, you must know what I'm talking about. Okay, when I say P, you must know what P is. Okay, so that is why the terminology is important. Okay, let's enter the personalities. Let us look at the first example, and then let's see. Sizwe borrowed 15,000 rand from his brother and agreed to pay it back after 3 years with an interest of 12% per annum, simple interest. Now calculate the interest that he has to pay and the total payback amount, right? Okay, so we're given a story. Now in this story, ladies and gentlemen, personalities, we must be able to find, if we can find any of these things like P, N, I, S, I, and so on, so that we can be able to answer questions. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We are going to look at the questions in context and then be able to extract what we are supposed to extract. Okay, so for example, here they say Sizwe borrowed 1,500 rand. The money borrowed. What is it? Money taken, not taken. What is the amount of the money taken? The amount of money taken is 1,500 rand. Can you see? And then agreed to pay it back after 3 years. So the time that you take to pay back the money is 3 years. And then they are giving us the interest, and then we take I and you say 12%. Where is it? Percentage over 100, and then we get this 0.12. That is I. This is percentage. All right. And then they are telling us that this is a simple interest. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just remember, sometimes it can be a compound interest, but this time around it's a simple interest. Now, why is it important for them to tell us whether it's simple interest or compound interest? So that we will know which formulas to use, because the formulas of simple interest are not the same as the formulas of compound interest. So we must know which is which and what is it they are looking for. Okay, now number one, what do they want? Calculate the interest. So when they say calculate the interest that he has to pay, what is that? That is a simple interest. Okay, now the simple interest is unknown. Okay, we do not know, but we are so lucky we have a formula of simple interest. So in the solution of number one is nothing other than the formula. Where is the formula? SI is equal to P times I times S. And then what is P? P is 1,500 times what is I? I is 0.12. And then what is N? N is 3, so times 3. So when you put this thing in a calculator, what do you come up with? You come up with nothing other than 540. Okay, so you get 540. So the simple interest is 540. Now, ladies and gentlemen, personalities, there is something very important that I would like to come to bring across you. Okay, so here what we have done is we've been given a questions, and then we're able to find what we've been given and what we are looking for in this particular case, and then we're able to find formula that is involved, and then we found the answer. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't just leave the answer like this. Make sure that you always interpret the answer in the context of a question. So what is the context of the question? Let's look at the question again. So every time when you finish and you got your answer, you must go back to the question itself and say the question says calculate the interest that he has to pay. So, and then now you've forgot that this is what it is. Therefore, you must say, therefore, the interest that Sizwe has to pay is what? Is 540 rand. Okay, do you guys understand? Very, very, very important. Okay, to answer the question in the context of the question itself after finding an answer, it's very important. Okay, let's look at the question now. The total payback amount. What is the total payback amount? Okay, there are two formulas that we are given. We can actually use both of them. Okay, we can actually use both of them. let's see if they all give you the same thing, number 2. So you've got A, which is equal to P. You know what P is, and then plus SI. Things are becoming very easy for us. What is P? P is 1,500, 1,500, and then SI is what? Is 540. So plus 540. So what do you get at the end of the day? You get 2,040. So the amount that Sizwe must pay back altogether, that is the total payback. What is it? Is 2,040 rand. Okay, because we said we've got this formula, we also said we can use this formula. So let us actually use this time to actually find out if we can actually use this formula and we get the same answer. Okay, so that we can know that these two formulas are equivalent, and then so next time you will only choose one. Okay, now let's take what we have. We have A, which is equal to P, and then 1 plus IN. Okay, and then what is P? P is 1,500, and then 1 is 1 plus, and then I is what? Is 0, 12, and then N is what? N is 3. Okay, now put this thing exactly as it is in the calculator, and then you will see that you'll get what? 2,040 rand. Okay, now I don't have a space here, but remember what I said earlier. After you've got this value, go back and then answer the question in the context of the question that was asked. So in this particular case, how would you say it? Let's just create a small space here so that I can answer it. Let me use another color. So from here, you then say the amount, the total, because that's what the question said, the total payback amount is what? Is 2,040 rand. Okay, that is your final answer in the context of what? In the context of the question. Ladies and gentlemen, personalities, this is very important. I do not know how I can overemphasize. Okay, all right, now let's take a second problem and see what is it that we can make out of it. And ladies and gentlemen, personalities, remember what you must do. Now, after you have read this example and seen how we get to do these things, you must actually try it on your own and see if you can actually do it on your own. It's very important, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay. But anyway, let's go to the next question. And then after doing that, then you look at what you've already done and then match it with what you have done and see if you are right on track. Guys, you must always check if you are on track with regards to anything that has to do with mathematics. Okay, now let us continue. Now they say Jomba invested 3,000 rand at 6% simple interest for 3 years, right? Okay, so this is basically what happened. And then there are two questions. The question is, how much interest did he earn? Okay, so I want you guys to bring you to the awareness of something. Okay, and then that's something that I want to bring you the awareness to is the fact that earlier we spoke about somebody taking money from someone. We spoke of simple interest in the context of the money that was borrowed. But here now, they are speaking about investment. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, personalities, simple interest is not only about money that is being borrowed. It can also about the interest. For example, if you put your money at the bank and then you take it out after some times, and then the bank promises that each and every month when you keep this money with us, we will give you an interest. Now the question is, how much are you going to be gaining each and every month? That is some of the things that could be answered by what? By simple interest. All right. So now, in the same way as we did earlier, solution. Let's pick up what we have. You invested 3,000. Now the P, the principal amount demand. So money taken then, but now it's money invested now. What is it? So P is 3,000 rand. Okay, you've got 3,000 rand. Okay, and then I is 6%. And then obviously we know that we take the percentage and we divided it by 100. So 6% over 100, and that will give you 0.06. Okay, they say per annum, so that means per year. Okay, for 3 years. Okay, and then so that means N is equal to 3 years. Now, how much interest did they earn? Oh, we know what simple interest is. So the simple interest is unknown in this time. So number one, the simple interest is nothing other than, here's a formula. It's P times I times N, and then the P is nothing other than 3,000 rand. I is nothing other than 0.06, and then N is nothing other than 3. And then what do we get? So what we simply do in this particular case is we take a calculator, and then in the calculator we say 3,000 times 0.06 times 3. Okay, times 3 is equal to what? Okay, I do not know what my calculator is doing. It's trying to play games with me. Okay, let's see. We get what? We get 540. We get 540. So our answer here is 540. Okay, so this 540 is what is the interest, and then obviously we go back to answer how much interest did he earn. He earned, therefore he earned the interest of how much? Of 540. Okay, now we've got what the interest is. How much money did he got altogether after 3 years? So after investing this money, how much did he get? We know here's our formula, or this one. We can pick anyone, it does not really matter. Okay, so A, this is number 2. A is equal to P plus SI, which is equal to what? P is 1,000, and then SI is 540, and then that is 3,540. So therefore, altogether, after, if you use this formula, it's fine as well, as long as you end up with this amount. Okay, amount that he got is 3,540. Right, wonderful. Okay, let's look at the third example. Guys, we are moving. I hope you are learning something. Okay, now they just shoot straight to the question with this one. They are saying, for how long should I invest 30,000 rand at 11% per annum simple interest in order to earn 23,000 rand interest. Okay, I've got 30,000 rand. Okay, I want to invest it, but I want specifically the interest to be 23,100. So how do I make it happen? Yeah, for how long must I invest this money? Okay, solution. Oh, how much do I have to invest is 30,000 rand? So that is my P. So P is equal to 30,000 rand, and then obviously my I is equal to 11 over 100, which is 0.11. All right, which is 0.11, and then per annum simple interest. Okay, that's what they say. And then my interest. Okay, and then they mentioned that it's simple interest. So my interest. So my simple interest, they are giving us now. We already, in most cases, we usually don't have it. Now we have it. It's 23,100. And then what they're asking from me is how long. So when they say how long, what does it mean? They are looking for time. Okay. So I've got this, I've got P and SI and I. And then this is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to look for a formula that contains this thing that I've been given and what I'm looking for. And then what is that formula? The formula that I have is this one. Okay, so I've got SI, which is equal to P times I times N. Okay, my SI, I already have it, is 23,100. And then my P is 30,000, and then my I is 0.11. Okay, and then my N is, sorry, my T. Okay, it's not T, call it N. Some people call it T in other books, but okay, in this context we call it N, sometimes N. My N is unknown. Okay, so can you see I've got everything, but the only thing that I have is N. Let me actually write it with a different color so that it can be bright. Okay, so this is my N. Okay, so obviously you can use any algebraic law. Some people, they can multiply this thing and then after getting the answer, then divide it with. Okay, but what we're going to do, there's nothing wrong with that. You can use that if you want to, but what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to divide with this both sides. So 30 times 0.11, and then obviously what I do here I must also do that side. So 30,000 times 0.11. So this will cancel this, and then I'll remain with N, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 23,100 divided by 30,000 times 0.11. And then I just put these things literally as it is in a calculator and see what I'm going to get. So 23,000 divided by 30,000 times 0.11. So what do I get? So ladies and gentlemen, personalities, what I get here is what? And it's a very interesting number. Okay, so here, can you see? I get 6.9696 and so on and so on. Now remember, they say how long. When they say how long, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I can put this number as it is as an answer, but when you are looking at time, you must always round it off. Okay. In most cases, when you get a question like this, they will always tell you that round it off to the nearest whole number. Okay, so your answer is nothing other than what? So n is equal to 6,9696, and then obviously n is approximately 7. Okay, so this was per annum, so it's 7 years. Okay, so it takes, and then you answer. So you say it takes 7 years to get the interest of, and then you can write this one, of 23,100. Okay, so that is the amount of time that it will take. Okay, can you see that? Wonderful. Okay, let's go to the next question. So ladies and gentlemen, personalities, I want you to notice that, okay, earlier you've been looking for the simple interest and the total amount, but now they are actually, sometimes you are given that and then they just want you to find time for them. Okay, so they can ask for anything, so you must always be ready to answer any kind of questions that will come around. Okay, so this was number 3, and then number 4, let's go ahead. Now they say, if I have 30,000 rand. Okay, just one thing that I want to mention, guys, with regards to this. Remember, there are 2 equations. You could have used this one as well. If you use this one as well, you will get this exactly the same answer. And in fact, I would just like you to make this your exercise. Quickly try to use this formula to find this n, and then see if the n that you get is same as the n that I've already got here. Okay, that is your homework, right? All right, let's go on to the next one. Now, if I have 30,000 rand and I want 53,000 rand, okay, now I want, at the end of everything, I want to have 53,000 rand. So how long should I invest it for if the simple interest is at 11,000 rand per annum? Okay, so now I want you to be very careful when you're reading this one. Okay, you must always know what is it that you have. Now, solution, you have 30,000 rand, so that means that is a capital or a principal amount. Okay, so principal amount is 30,000 rand. Okay, now you want 53,000 rand at the end. Okay, so if you want 50,000 rand, that means the money that you have plus whatever interest that you're going to get, it must come back to what? It must come back to 53,000 rand. Okay, so that is the final amount. Okay, so A is equal to 53,000 rand, and then the interest that you are giving is 11%, so obviously it's going to be 11 over 100, and then it's going to be 0.11. And then what are we looking for? What did they say you're looking for? How long should you invest it for? So you're looking for n. So n is equal to unknown. Okay, so you look for the formula that has this. Okay, now let's just look at this formula. Okay, we've got P. Both of these formulas, they have P, so you can actually use both of them. Okay, and then but there's SI. Here we do not have SI, so that means that we cannot use this formula. But not necessarily that you cannot use the formula. We can actually use some things there and calculate SI. You can try that, and then you can have SI. Okay, because obviously you know what SI is. SI is P, and then you already have P. And then I, you already have I. But you don't have N. Okay, but you can actually get XI by, remember, you've got this formula. A is equal to P plus SI. Okay, you already have the final amount, you've already get capital. So you can actually use this formula to find SI Okay, and then you can use this formula again to, okay. But can you use this formula? The reason why you can't use this formula is because it doesn't have n. Can you see that? So that is why you go straight to the one that has n. Okay, so to make things easier for you, you must always pick the formula that has what you are looking for and what you are given. So this one has a that you already have, it has p that you already have, you've got I, and then it's n. Okay, so that is why you use this formula, and then you can just play around and then still use this formula. But to make things easier for yourself, this is the formula to go. So you're gonna go ahead and say a is equal to p, and then 1 plus I. Okay, and what is a? A is 53,000 is equal to p. What is p? Is 30,000. And open the bracket and you say 1 plus, and then your I is what? Your I is 0, 0,11, 0, 0,11, and then you've got your n. Okay. All right. So this is what you're looking for, which is n. All right. So the first thing that you must do is to remove this. How to remove this? You divide by both sides. You divide by 30,000, and then over 30,000. So this cancels this, and then you will have 53,000 over 30,000, which is equal to 1 plus 0,11 n. Can you see that? You can take this one to this side, and then you end up with 53,000 divided by 30,000 minus 1 is equal to 0,11 n. Okay, remember you want n, so you can actually divide with 0,11, and then here you divide with 0,11. Just put this in a calculator literally as it is to save yourself from stress. Okay, this will cancel this one, and then you'll end up with n. Okay, I'm not going to put this down again, so I am going to put this thing as it is in a calculator. Now, how to do that? Okay, you must always press this. Can you see? You must press this one. Can you see? There you go. Can you see? And then remember, here on top there is what? There is the fraction in its own right. So you must, when you're on top, put the fraction sign again like this. Can you see? And then on top here, what to put? It's 53,053 1. And then here you put what? 30,000. 30. What am I doing? 30,000, and then all divided by 0,11. Okay, and then you say minus 1. Minus 1. Can you see that? So you put this in the calculator literally as it was here, and then what do you get? You get something like this at 6.96. Okay, 6.9696, and then obviously that is approximately what? We can just say 6 point. Just put this number as it is like this. 6.9696, or just say 97. You can just say 969697. Just put it as it is, and then which is approximately 7. Okay, so it takes, and then obviously you can answer in the context of the question like I explained earlier, and then you say what? You say it takes 7 years. All right, wonderful. Let's take personalities. Now let us do the last one. So right, and then we're gonna close shop. Let's take personalities. I can see that you are tired. Remember, we are about to finish. I want you to make sure that you do this thing once and for all, and you don't have to come back to it. Okay, so hold on. Bambelela sibusiso sesiyafika ekhaya. Right, let's go on. So here Danny borrows 24,000 rand and agrees to pay it over 3 years. Now the amount that she pays back is 34,800 rand at a simple interest. Now what was the rate? Okay, they've been asking many things from us. We've been asked to get A, we've been asked to get P. Okay, we haven't been asked to get P. We can also be asked to get P. Okay, that could be one of the examples. Okay, but you will find it there. Look for an exercise there and solve it. And then now they want us to find I. All right, they want us to find I. So how do we go about finding I? Okay, so solution. So what do we have? Capital amount P, which is 24,000 rand. Time is 3 years. All right. And then amount of money you finally pay back, so that is A is 34,800. And then they are asking for the interest. So what was our I? We do not know what our I is. We've got our formula, which is A, which is equal to P1 plus IN. Okay. And then our A is what? Is 34,800. And then our P is 24,000. And then 1 plus IN. We do not know what our I is, but our N is 3, so we just say 3 and then say I. Okay, now guys, this is what we have. You know how we did this. We divided by these ones, it's 24,000 and here, and then we take this thing to the side and all of those kind of things. So we know exactly what we are going to end up with, and I am going to leave this pleasant little personalities as exercise. Okay, should I leave it as an exercise? Should I leave it as an exercise? Okay, let me just do it for argument's sake, so that you won't say I took you around. So you divide by 24,000 this side, and so you're going to have 34,800 divided by 24,000, which is equal to 1 plus 3i. And then you take this thing to this side, you're going to have 34,800 divided by 24 minus 1, because you take this one to the side, is equal to 3i. And then obviously you're going to divide by 3 both sides. Okay, now what do we get is I. See, so you do the same thing that you did earlier. So it's 34,800 divided by 24,000, and then all of those things minus 1, and then divide by 3. Okay, so what do we get? You get 0, 0, I is 0,15%. 0,15. Sorry, not just, I'm not gonna write 15%. 0,15. But ladies and gentlemen, personalities, remember your I is 0,15, but you were asked the rate. Now the rate is usually termed in percentage, so you must answer in the context of the question, as we said earlier. So therefore obviously when 0.15, it means you must times it by 100 and get what? And get the percentage. So the rate is 15%. That is what you are going to report with. Okay. All right. So let me give you the final remark and close shops. Okay. So the final remark are very easy, ladies and gentlemen, personalities. When you are doing these kinds of the problems, number one, you must make sure. One of the things that you must be very careful of is you must make sure that you label the information correct. You must extract the information correctly, and please label it correctly, because if you don't extract it or label it correctly, you are going to get what? You are going to get the wrong answers. Okay. And it will be sad to see you getting wrong answers. Number two, now, in most cases here, you've been given per annum. Sometimes it's not like that. You'll be given something like per month sometimes. Or you'll be given per annum, and then you'll be given the what you call the time in months. Okay. Now, what you must remember is that the interest and n must always be in the same unit. So this cannot be per annum and then this be in month. If this is per annum, you must always follow the interest. If this interest is per annum, therefore the month must be in terms of years. So for example, if they say 12 months, then you know that 12 months is what? Is 2 years. So that these two will be along each other. Okay. So you must always watch what you are giving, and you must make sure that these always have the same formula. And then you must also look at the question in terms of how the question asked. Okay. They can give you per annum, but the question may ask you to put your answer in months. Make sure that you put things properly, accordingly, and then you answer exactly in the way in which they asked. Okay. So guys, the end leads me to my last point, that at the end of the day, when you're doing this kind of problem, always answer the questions in the context of how the questions were asked in itself. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. If there's something that you didn't understand, you can always ask in the comment section. That is number one. And if also there is a mistake that you noticed, guys, we are mathematicians, we do mistakes every day. So if there is a mistake that I might have done, it's normal, because I'm a mathematician. Okay. You are also a mathematician. You also make mistakes, so no problem. But you can always show me so that I can be able to correct it, so that I will actually make some editing so that the next person who goes in will not be able to see that kind of a mistake. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, personalities, thank you for tuning in. And ladies and gentlemen, personalities, this simple interest is for grade 10. It's starts in grade 10, but you can, if you're in grade 11 or grade 12, you can actually use this as what? As revision as well. So ladies and gentlemen, personalities, thank you very much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye. Right.